Hey, David Wigan here, 10-Minute Daily Reality Check. Thanks for tuning in today. I've got some reality today. You know what it is? I want you to take your iPhone. Remember, it is a phone, right? Even though I wanted to rename it the Mimi text machine, but unfortunately, when I went to Apple and I had the meeting, I went up to Cupertino and I went up to the meeting and I got in through the front door and I had my iPhone there and I had the meeting with all the people who run Apple, and I looked at them and I said, the iPhone is not really a phone anymore. It's a me device. Everybody's texting on it. So why don't we just call it the me text machine? And they looked at me and they said, that's a very interesting thing, but it's still a phone. And I looked at them and said, really? When's the last time you actually picked it up? When's the last time you actually listened to a voicemail message? When's the last time you actually picked up a phone number that you did not know? Unfortunately, nowadays, every time you seem to pick up a phone number that you don't know, it's from the IRS. Did you ever get that one? Hello, this is the IRS calling. We're going to send a police to your house in the next 5 hours if you don't pay us. I love that one. It's one of the best scams ever. And I can't believe anybody falls for that. Shame on you if you fall for any of that stuff, especially the ridiculous scam, the IRS, the government. Like, the government is not going to call you on a Sunday afternoon during football season. They hail to the Redskins in D.C. Haven't you heard the song? Hail to the Redskins, fight for old D.C. So let me tell you something. They are not going to be calling you at all. So when I went up to Apple and I told them, I said, it really is just a me device because everybody's on Instagram. And let me tell you something. Do not date somebody who has a lot of selfies on Instagram. It's the plain old simple, unless you want to go and hang out with them, constantly putting the me device towards their face. You're always going to be a second banana. It's one of the things I always tell people. Go ahead. Google somebody. Google somebody before you go out on a date. Don't read anything about them. Just look at their social media. Look at their Instagram page. And if they're staring at themselves and posting a picture of themselves every single day, run, take your Nikes and run. I want somebody who has to look back for pictures of themselves because they don't fucking love themselves on that narcissistic me level. So anyway, when I went into Apple, they would not change the name of the iPhone. So I kind of got disappointed. And I'm kind of joking because I never went to Apple. And my daughter, Layla, will say, Dad, you have kidding face on right now. Whenever you do this, you just have absolute kidding face. So I want to talk today a little bit about the me text machine. And I want to ask you a serious question. A question that is going to get you to rethink things a little bit. How many of you do a text and review? Now, I've got a confession. Whenever I'm dating somebody, falling for them, intrigued by them, connecting with them, I don't want to miss a single word they say at all. When I talk to them, I am listening so carefully because I don't want to miss a single word that they say. Why? There's two reasons. One, I want to fucking know who they are inside and out. And two, I want to make sure they're not waving any flags that I need to notice. Sometimes I've dated people and it was like the United Nations. There were so many flags in front. But in reality, I just want to absorb them and who they are. So if I get into a text exchange during the day, because women love to text nonstop, and I don't mind that. I like texting women. I do. I enjoy it. But I actually like to pick up the phone and actually talk. I prefer that. But I got to tell you something. Men don't text one another. I barely text my friends. It's always, hey, we meeting for the game, and that's about it. But I like to do a text and review. If we didn't talk that day, I like to read the text to make sure I didn't miss anything and to make sure that I responded to everything. And I want to make sure that they also responded to the stuff that I was in there, because I've dated some incredible multitaskers, and sometimes they've missed pretty much the one main thing they were supposed to pick up from that text conversation. I tend to look at a text conversation and answer just about every word that I possibly can, because to me, it's just a conversation. And that's why when I have text conversations with people, it's actually quite enjoyable. But I don't want to take it past just a few minutes of fun little pleasantries throughout the day. So I'll do a text and review when I'm dating somebody just to see if I missed something, just to see if there was something important in there that I need to pay more attention to. Because that's the beauty of getting to know somebody, is to learn them, is to connect with them, is to read the things that they write and take the time out and not multitask so much. But one of the worst things about texting is that you're leaving a trail. As a matter of fact, we're leaving a trail all over the world nowadays. Wherever you go, you're leaving a trail. When you post something on Facebook, you're leaving trail to everybody on Facebook. Not only that, to the people who run the algorithms on Facebook. Well, they're taking all that information and they're retargeting ads in your direction. You wonder why things pop up that you like? It's because they know what you're doing. As a matter of fact, Big Brother's watching and we're okay with this. And I've talked about that on the podcast before. But I got to tell you something. Here's some good advice. Don't ever go back and look at a text fight, because if you're ever going to get into a text fight, you need to pick up the phone, because the majority of text fights are really just fingers angrily punching letters into an iPhone or a me phone or a Samsung me phone. We're doing that because we're angry and pissed off, because we should just pick up the phone and end it. So one of the things that I really recommend to people is do not text fight ever. And if you break up with somebody, don't go back and reread the texts. Don't go back and try to find the moment where it went wrong. Don't go back and look in the moments when everything was so fantastic and you just get depressed and upset that night. Take your little finger, slide it across your greasy phone screen, which, by the way, please clean those phone screens. I clean mine all the time, every single day, because one, I'm a germaphobe, and two, I don't need to see sticky food or particles or coughing or anything else, because phones get a little greasy and disgusting, and I don't like to touch people's phones. So take the phone, slide it across the screen, hit the delete button, and get rid of that text conversation forever. There's no reason to review text conversations from exes. Unless, of course, you were once married to the ex and you are sharing a child with them. Then you may want to save every text conversation, because you may want to use it in court one day. Those are the only text conversations I recommend you save, and business ones as well, because then you can keep your side of the street clean, because as we know from yesterday's podcast, we are all telling the truth and living in our authenticity. Delete it. Delete the screens, delete it from your iMessage, delete it. Delete the emails. Delete. Why? Because one night when you're alone and you're not really wanting to be single anymore, you may reminisce about the good things in that relationship, and you may go back and read the text and start to miss that person, and you may actually go and make a mistake and text somebody. The AT&T commercial, reach out and text someone. Well, I'm sorry, it was reach out and call someone, or reach out and touch someone. Resist the temptation by eliminating them from your phone. I'm not saying you can't go back out with them. I'm not saying you can't connect with them again. But the text and review is the wrong thing to do on so many levels. Don't send somebody a screen capture of the text fight that you had to prove your point. Don't quote their words back at them. That's a female habit to do. I can't stand when women do that. It drives me nuts. Quoting the words back. I know what I said. I'm well aware of what I said in that moment. I'm well aware of what I said in that moment might have triggered you. It made you feel a certain thing. It made you pissed off at me. But I'm past that moment. So don't go back and quote text me. Texting's a dangerous thing. So I believe in deleting. I believe in deleting old people from your lives. As a matter of fact, today I decided to do that. I took a break from work and I just started scrolling across and I started deleting texts and deleting texts and deleting texts. The last woman I had a relationship with, the second it was over, I deleted the texts. I read them, and then I said to myself, I got enough information here to really figure out why this relationship ended, to embrace it, to thank her. Well, I'm not going to ever thank her because I don't talk to her, but to thank her out and about, in a random way of the experience that I had and how I learned how to show up, how amazing it was to be able to participate in a single mother's life and make a single mother's life so much more fulfilling. I love that. As a matter of fact, I go to bed at night and I think to myself, I love being with single mothers. I love making their life better. I like to make their life more better. And, as a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about why I love single mothers on tomorrow's podcast. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow. But for now, I want you to delete your texts. The reality is you're only causing yourself pain by re-looking at these texts. So whoever is not in your life anymore, slide it across that greasy screen. Hit that delete button and say goodbye to them. For now, I'm saying goodbye to you. 10-minute daily reality check out.